You tirelessly orchestrate every detail of your existence, pursuing control over circumstance, emotion, and destiny. Yet your efforts yield an inverse reality, a spiraling descent into deeper anxiety, a gnawing sense of emptiness, and an unshakable feeling of profound isolation. You believe that mastery is forged in the relentless struggle to bend the world to your will, a constant battle against the currents of fate. You are told by the cacophony of modern wisdom that the answer lies in more action, more planning, more self-reliance, a perpetual state of striving that promises liberation but delivers only exhaustion. You are a titan in your own mind, shouldering the weight of every outcome, every decision, every potential failure. This relentless self-will, this iron grip on the reins of your life is lauded as strength, yet you feel its immense burden crushing your spirit. Paramahansa Yogananda, the harbinger of self-realization and a timeless voice of the ancients, asserts, "The true revelation of your soul's hidden treasure begins only when you abandon the illusion of personal dominion and offer a prayer of total surrender to the divine." This is not a philosophy of resignation or weakness. It is a radical, almost terrifying truth that demands the dismantling of your most cherished illusions. You stand at a precipice, believing your strength lies in clinging to the edge, when the divine wisdom whispers that your salvation, your deepest peace, your true wealth, lies in letting go. This isn't merely a shift in perspective, it's a fundamental reorientation of your entire being, a spiritual revolution that challenges the very foundation of how you understand power, purpose, and peace. Consider the prevailing narrative. If you want it, go get it. You are the master of your own fate. This mantra, echoed across self-help aisles and motivational speeches, has conditioned you to believe that every success is a trophy of your personal will, and every failure, a testament to its insufficiency. You've internalized the belief that to release control is to invite chaos, to be swept away by an uncaring universe. So you cling tighter, planning more meticulously, analyzing every variable, trying to outsmart destiny itself. But in this desperate grasp, you paradoxically lose sight of the vast, benevolent intelligence that underpins all creation. Your hidden burden is the silent scream of an ego trying to play God, convinced that its limited perception can orchestrate a symphony beyond its comprehension. The anxiety you feel, the gnawing dissatisfaction, the pervasive sense that something is fundamentally wrong, despite your outward achievements, these are not signs of your failure. They are the urgent, divine alarms of your soul, signaling its awakening. Your soul is not quiet. It's screaming for liberation from the prison of your own making, a prison constructed brick by brick from your ceaseless attempts at control. It yearns to reveal its true immeasurable richness, but it cannot do so while you remain convinced that you must be the sole architect of your reality. The treasure it holds is not found through external conquest, but through internal release, a sacred giving up that transcends all logical understanding. This is the profound paradox. The path to ultimate power begins with the conscious relinquishment of power, a deliberate act of divine humility. Yogananda, echoing the profound wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, teaches that true action is not born of egoic desire, but from alignment with divine will. You are not a solitary actor in a meaningless drama. You are an instrument of a cosmic symphony, and your soul's richest notes can only resonate when you allow the divine conductor to guide your hand. This is the difference between struggling to carve a path through a dense jungle and effortlessly floating downstream on a powerful current. Your constant striving is the former, a self-imposed exhaustion. The prayer of total surrender is the latter, a radical act of faith that unlocks an inexhaustible wellspring of grace and intuitive guidance. The world trains you to view vulnerability as weakness and surrender as defeat. It equates self-sufficiency with strength and dependence with fragility. But what if this entire framework is a grand illusion, a sophisticated trick of Maya, designed to keep you bound to the wheel of endless effort and suffering? What if the very act of giving up your perceived control is the only way to tap into a source of power so immense, so intelligent, so benevolent, that it redefines everything you thought you knew about your capabilities and your place in the universe? Your soul holds a treasure, not of material wealth, but of divine peace, unconditional joy, and boundless wisdom, a richness that cannot be bought, earned, or forced into existence, but only received through an open, surrendered heart. Do you dare to comment below with the word surrender? 2. Acknowledge the exhaustion of your own will and begin to glimpse the true power that lies beyond the grasp of your ego. Do you have the courage to confront the deepest fear of your ego, the fear of losing itself, in order to gain your true, eternal self? If you are ready to dismantle the tyranny of self-will and unlock the divine abundance that your soul yearns to reveal, then prepare yourself, because the path to this treasure is not paved with more effort, but with the profound, radical, and often terrifying act of letting go. How does one truly surrender when every fiber of their being screams for control? And what profound, irreversible transformation awaits the soul brave enough to take that leap of faith into the unknown embrace of the divine? You stand at the edge of this revelation, contemplating the audacious claim that surrendering control is the key to unlocking your soul's treasure. But how did you become so entangled in this web of self-will, this relentless striving that leaves you perpetually exhausted? The crisis you feel, the gnawing anxiety of being solely responsible for your destiny, is not a modern malady. It is an echo from the ancient chambers of your soul, a pattern etched into your spiritual blueprint. This is the archaeology of the soul, where we unearth the karmic and psychological origins of your control obsession, revealing how a fundamental misstep in your eternal journey led to the illusion of separate dominion. The ceaseless striving you experience today, the burden of carrying the world on your shoulders, often traces back to a crucial moment, not just in this lifetime, but in the deeper chronicles of your soul. Imagine a distant past, perhaps in a life long forgotten, or even in the very dawn of your individuated consciousness. There was a pivotal instance, a moment of profound choice, when your burgeoning ego made a solemn vow, a powerful declaration: I must do it myself. I cannot rely on others, not even the divine, for true security or progress. This was not born of malice, but often from a deep-seated trauma of perceived abandonment, a wound of separation from the source, or a desperate need for self-preservation in a world that seemed chaotic and unpredictable. This decision, a powerful imprint on your karmic record, initiated a feedback loop of self-reliance. It wasn't just a thought, it was an energetic decree, a cosmic contract with your own will. From that point, every challenge overcome by sheer force of will, every success attributed solely to personal effort, reinforced this ancestral trauma, deepening the groove of self-sufficiency. You became a master builder of your own prison walls, each brick laid with the conviction that you were safeguarding your freedom, when in reality you were merely isolating yourself from the boundless support of the divine. The irony is excruciating. Your greatest perceived strength became your most profound spiritual limitation. What you didn't know then, what your ego relentlessly denied, was that this perceived independence severed a vital connection, the umbilical cord to universal consciousness. Paramahansa Yogananda consistently taught that the soul's deepest joy and inherent richness stem from its unbreakable unity with God. When you declared self-sovereignty in isolation, you effectively dimmed your access to divine guidance, creative inspiration, and the boundless grace that flows effortlessly through a surrendered channel. Your intuition became muted, your inner peace fractured, replaced by the incessant chatter of a mind convinced it had to calculate every risk and plan every move. Your soul suspected this profound disconnection, the subtle ache of spiritual loneliness, but your ego rationalized it away. It dressed its fear of surrender in the garb of ambition, resilience, and personal responsibility. I am strong, it whispered. I am capable, and indeed you are. But that strength, when divorced from divine alignment, becomes a straining, exhausting force, forever trying to push a river uphill. The illusion of control became your personal Maya, a captivating dance of shadows convincing you that your light was sufficient, rather than a reflection of the infinite sun. This ancestral vow of self-reliance manifests in your current life as the unshakable belief that you must control every outcome, every emotion, every relationship. It's the reason why you often feel that gnawing anxiety when things don't go according to your plan, or why you resist help, even when overwhelmed. It's the hidden burden that makes you feel profoundly alone, even in a crowd, because deep down, your soul remembers that decree: I must do it myself. This pattern isn't a flaw. It's a deeply ingrained karmic program, a testament to the power of your past choices. Yogananda illuminates this by explaining the intricate weave of karma. Every thought, word, and action imbued with conscious intent creates a ripple effect across lifetimes. Your intention to control, to be self-sufficient in the face of perceived cosmic indifference, created the very conditions for perpetual striving. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of effort, where the more you try to control, the more you perceive the need for control, thus accumulating more karma of self-will. This is the weight you carry, the accumulated burden of countless acts of independent orchestration, all designed to prove a point your soul never needed to make. The good news, the liberating truth, is that just as a vow can be made, it can also be consciously unmade. The very act of acknowledging this pattern, of understanding its karmic roots, is the first tremor in the foundations of that prison. This isn't about blaming yourself for past choices. It's about recognizing the intricate mechanisms of your spiritual journey. It's about seeing that your struggle isn't a random curse, but a sacred consequence, a meticulously crafted feedback loop designed by the divine to eventually lead you back to the truth of surrender. The relentless anxiety and exhaustion are not punishments, but powerful, albeit uncomfortable, prompts for change. The true liberation begins when you cease identifying with the ego's narrative of isolated strength and acknowledge the deeper, wiser impulse of the soul yearning for reunion. Your soul is inherently rich, infinitely capable, not because of what you can do, but because of what the divine can achieve through you. The treasure isn't something you acquire, it's something you unveil by removing the layers of self-imposed effort and illusion. Understanding the origin of your control obsession is merely the blueprint of the battlefield. The real fight, however, isn't external. It's not against fate or circumstance. The first true confrontation awaits, and it will be against the enemy closest to you, your own deeply ingrained mechanisms of defense, the very strategies your ego has perfected to maintain its illusion of control. How will you face the terror of dismantling a self-identity you've spent lifetimes perfecting? And what will remain when the fortress of your self-will finally crumbles? You've glimpsed the ancient roots of your self-will, the karmic patterns that bind you to the illusion of control. Now the journey intensifies. This path to total surrender is not a gentle stroll into serenity. It is an internal war, a crucible designed to burn away the dross of ego and reveal the pure gold of your soul. Your ascent towards divine liberation is not a comfortable staircase. It is a tightening funnel, where each test becomes more challenging, and the emotional cost of clinging to the old ways escalates. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, will now present you with a series of escalating provocations, forcing you to choose between the familiar chains of control and the terrifying freedom of relinquishment. As you begin to even contemplate surrender, the external world often seems to conspire against you, mirroring your internal resistance. Suddenly, circumstances you previously managed with an iron fist begin to unravel. Projects you meticulously planned encounter unexpected obstacles. Relationships you carefully curated experience unforeseen friction. People you depended on for external validation seem to withdraw their approval. The very structure you built to maintain control appears to crack under pressure. This is not a punishment, but a divine test. The ego interprets these events as proof that surrender is weakness, a dangerous folly. It screams, "See, I told you. Without my constant vigilance, everything falls apart." You find yourself in situations demanding decisions where all logical paths seem equally fraught, forcing you to step into the unknown. The universe pushes you to the limits of your intellectual capacity, demonstrating the futility of relying solely on the intellect to navigate life's deepest currents. You will feel an intense urge to revert to your old patterns, to micromanage, to overanalyze, to manipulate outcomes. But each time you attempt to reassert control, the resistance grows stronger, the frustration more acute, and the exhaustion more profound. Your energy, once seemingly boundless in its quest for control, now feels depleted, as if the universe is draining you of the very fuel that powered your egoic striving. How much more can you endure before the illusion of your external control shatters completely, leaving you naked before the storm? As the external battles rage, the true war begins within. Your doubts, fears, and insecurities, previously suppressed by the sheer force of your will, now surge to the forefront of your consciousness. The ego, sensing its impending dissolution, launches its fiercest counterattack. It bombards you with questions. Who will you be without control? What if you become powerless, a victim of circumstance? What about your identity, your achievements, everything you've worked for? This is the core of the inimigo comums strategy, to convince you that losing control means losing yourself. You will experience intense waves of anxiety, not just about external events, but about the very fabric of your being. Your mind, accustomed to being the supreme commander, now grapples with the terrifying concept of relinquishing its authority. You might find yourself questioning your sanity, your spiritual path, even the very idea of a benevolent divine. The comfort of the known, however painful, now seems infinitely preferable to the abyss of the unknown. Your deepest fears of insignificance, of not being enough, of being unloved, rise like specters, demanding your attention. You will be tempted to retreat, to rebuild the walls of self-will, to cling to any semblance of familiarity. But the discomfort of staying in the old patterns will be just as unbearable, a spiritual suffocation. Can you withstand the ego's psychological warfare, or will you succumb to its seductive whispers of false security, forever postponing the liberation your soul craves? The ultimate test arrives not as a dramatic explosion, but as a profound internal paradox, the realization that the only way to win this war is to stop fighting. This is the moment of divine letting go, a radical act of faith beyond logical comprehension. You will reach a point of absolute exhaustion, a recognition that all your efforts, all your strategies, all your attempts to control have led you to an impasse. The battle against surrender becomes more draining than the act of surrendering itself. This is where the wisdom of Yogananda converges with the fortitude of Stoicism, accepting what you cannot control, not with resignation, but with a profound active trust in a higher intelligence. This isn't about giving up on your goals or becoming passive. It's about consciously offering your entire being, your fears, your desires, your perceived control, to the divine. It's a moment of inner crucifixion, where the ego in its final throes believes it is dying. But what truly dies is the illusion of separation, the tyrannical reign of the small self. In this sacred act, you don't lose yourself. You discover your boundless self, the Atman, the eternal soul connected to Brahman. This is the point where the dor occulta abordata, the burden of feeling solely responsible, begins to dissolve. You stand at the brink of this ultimate surrender, the ego screaming its protest, the soul whispering its promise of liberation. The path ahead demands an act of faith so profound, so absolute, that it feels like leaping into a bottomless chasm. Yet, It is precisely this abyss that holds the key to your freedom. What if, in that terrifying moment of total relinquishment, you discover that the chasm is not empty, but the infinite loving embrace of the divine, ready to catch you? What hidden, terrifying truth about the nature of God and your own power will be revealed when you finally let go of everything you thought defined you? You have traversed the battlefield of self-will, weathered the ego's last stand, and stood at the precipice of the ultimate paradox. That true victory lies in surrender. This is the climax of your journey, the sacred ceremony of the ego's death and the soul's glorious rebirth. The tension has built to an unbearable peak, and now, in this moment of absolute readiness, you are invited to experience the final alchemy, where the lead of your suffering, purified in the sacred fire of conscious relinquishment, transmutes into the pure gold of boundless consciousness. This is where the prayer of total surrender becomes your sacred key, your direct conduit to the divine, and the experience of non-dual unity unfolds within you. The moment arrives not with a thunderclap, but with a profound internal shift, a quiet yet seismic recalibration of your entire being. Having exhausted every strategy of control, every permutation of self-will, you simply let go. It's not a forced act, but a spontaneous release, like a tightly clenched fist finally relaxing its grip. In that instant, the incessant internal noise, the anxious striving, the burden of "I must," simply dissolves. This is where the prayer of total surrender transcends mere words and becomes a living, breathing act of cosmic alignment. It's not a plea for God to change your circumstances, but a heartfelt decree that you are willing to align your will with God's, whatever that may entail. Imagine yourself now at the altar of your own heart. With every breath, you consciously offer your fears, your anxieties, your plans, your future, your very self, into the boundless ocean of divine consciousness. You do not just say the words, you embody the truth of them. You proclaim, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Beloved Guru, I am your instrument. My will is thine. Orchestrate my life according to your perfect wisdom, for your glory, and for the highest good of all. I surrender my desire for control, my attachment to outcomes, and my ego's relentless grip. Let your perfect plan unfold through me, effortlessly and joyfully. As these words resonate from the deepest core of your being, something extraordinary happens. The constriction around your heart chakra, built from lifetimes of fear and self-preservation, begins to expand. A warmth, a profound peace, begins to radiate from your center, spreading outwards like ripples in a still lake. It is no longer you doing the surrendering. It is this happening in you. You become the witness, the silent observer, as the vast ocean of divine grace rushes in to fill the void left by your relinquished ego. This is the resolution of the hook from the introduction. The terrifying truth of your identity is unveiled as you realize you were never truly separate from this boundless source, and your greatest power lay dormant in this very realization. The fear that consumed you, the dread of losing yourself, transforms into the exhilarating freedom of finding your true self. The ego, once a demanding tyrant, now recedes, revealing the magnificent, eternal presence of your Atman, your soul. You perceive with crystalline clarity that the chaos you experienced was merely the friction of your limited will, trying to contradict the infinite will. Now, in this profound alignment, there is only harmony. The noise of Maya, the illusion of separateness and suffering, begins to fade, replaced by an inner silence that sings with the music of cosmic unity. You become aware of a vast intelligence guiding every step, illuminating every decision, and orchestrating every synchronicity with impeccable precision. This is the moment your soul's hidden treasure is not just revealed, but experienced. It is not an external reward. It is an internal revelation of your inherent divine wealth. This treasure is unconditional peace, an unshakable joy that transcends circumstance, an intuitive wisdom that guides you far beyond the limits of your intellect. You realize that your value, your worth, your love, were never contingent upon your striving or your accomplishments. They were always intrinsically part of your divine nature, waiting to be unveiled by the simple, radical act of surrender. The gatilho emotional primario of hope transforms into profound certainty. The inimigo comum of egoic self-will is not destroyed, but transmuted. Its energy is now rechanneled, not into control, but into being a pure conscious instrument of the divine. You are no longer trying to push the river. You are the river, flowing as one with the infinite current of life, guided by an invisible yet undeniable hand. This is the true meaning of Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings: to remember your true identity, to awaken to your inherent divinity, and to live from that profound awareness. Now, in this state of absolute vulnerability and unwavering trust, there is a question that your soul demands you answer. It is a question that violates the very core of what you thought you knew about yourself and your motivations. A question that will shatter any remaining fragments of your ego's facade. You have seen the divine orchestration, tasted the boundless peace, felt the infinite love. But tell me truly, from the depths of your newly opened heart, are you willing to relinquish the secret pleasure you once derived from being the sole architect of your suffering, the hero of your own impossible journey? Comment below with truth if you are willing to face that uncomfortable final self-deception and fully embrace the effortless grace of divine surrender. Because until you confront that last stronghold of egoic pride, you will always hold a secret key to your own re-imprisonment. You have crossed the threshold. The sacred alchemy of surrender has taken place, and the dense lead of your self-will has transmuted into the luminous gold of divine consciousness. The old striving, the constant anxiety, the burden of control, these have not just faded. They have been absorbed into a new, expansive reality. This is the new normal, a life lived not by the ego, but through the soul, orchestrated by a wisdom far grander than any personal intellect. The experience of the climax was a profound internal revelation, and now, the task is to understand how this mystical shift translates into the tangible, everyday fabric of your existence. How does one live when the heavens have touched the earth within your own being? The most immediate change is a profound, unshakable peace. Remember the ceaseless mental chatter, the frantic planning, the internal debates that once consumed your waking hours? They are now replaced by a vast, quiet spaciousness. It's not that thoughts cease to arise, but their power to grip and control you has dissolved. You observe them, like clouds passing across a clear sky, without attachment or identification. This inner silence is not an absence. It is a profound presence, the resonant stillness of your true self, the Atman. This peace is not dependent on external circumstances. It flows from an inexhaustible wellspring within, a direct consequence of your total surrender to the divine. Your perception of the world transforms. Where you once saw chaos, struggle, and external threats demanding your constant vigilance, you now begin to discern an underlying order, a benevolent intelligence at play. Events that once triggered anxiety or frustration are now viewed through the lens of divine orchestration. You recognize them as part of a larger, perfect tapestry, unfolding with impeccable timing and purpose. The need to control dissipates, replaced by a profound trust, a deep knowing that you are being perfectly guided and protected. This is not naive optimism. It is the calm, lucid awareness of a soul aligned with universal will. Actions become effortless, infused with a new sense of purpose and joy. Remember the exhausting effort required for every task, the need to push and force outcomes. Now, you act not from personal ambition, but from an intuitive impulse, a gentle nudge from within. Your actions become a form of karma yoga, performed with excellence but without attachment to the fruits. The divine works through you, making your hands its hands, your words its words. There is a sense of flow, an effortless efficiency that was previously unimaginable. Doors open spontaneously, resources appear when needed, and challenges are met with an inner clarity that seems almost miraculous. This is your soul's hidden treasure manifesting in the physical world, a life of grace, guided by an unseen hand. Your relationships deepen and purify. The demands, expectations, and projections that stemmed from your egoic need for control now fall away. You approach others with an open heart, seeing their divine essence, recognizing them as fellow travelers on the path. The need to manipulate or impress vanishes, replaced by authentic connection and unconditional love. You become a channel of divine love, offering compassion without attachment and wisdom without judgment. Even challenging relationships begin to shift as your transformed energy subtly influences those around you. You radiate peace, and this peace becomes a balm for others. The old life elements, the very pains that brought you to this precipice, are now viewed with profound understanding, even gratitude. The anxiety that once tormented you is recognized as the soul's alarm clock, demanding your attention. The frustration of blocked progress is seen as a divine redirection, guiding you away from paths not meant for your highest good. The sense of spiritual loneliness is replaced by an intimate, unbroken communion with the divine presence, a constant companionship that transcends physical proximity. You are no longer a victim of fate, but a conscious co-creator, deeply connected to the source of all power. Yogananda taught that the true purpose of life is to realize our oneness with God. This realization isn't an abstract philosophical concept, it's a lived experience. It means perceiving the divine in every breath, every heartbeat, every ray of sunlight, every interaction. It means experiencing your own consciousness as a drop in the infinite ocean of Brahman. The prayer of total surrender, once a radical act, now becomes your natural state of being, a continuous offering of your life as a sacred expression of the divine. You walk through the world, but you are not of the world, for your roots are firmly planted in the eternal soil of spirit. The physical body, your sanctuary, also responds to this inner harmony. Stress-induced ailments begin to recede. There is a newfound vitality, a lightness of being, as the tension of constant effort is released. Sleep is deeper, meditations are profound, and your awareness of the subtle energies within and around you expands. You become more attuned to the divine signals, the synchronicities that guide your path, no longer needing to frantically search for them, for they are now woven into the very fabric of your awakened perception. This is the holistic healing that comes from spiritual liberation, proving that your alma is indeed awakening riqueza divina. This transformation is not a destination, but a state of being, a continuous unfolding of grace. You have found the treasure, not wealth as the world defines it, but the immeasurable eternal richness of your own divine nature. You live in the world engaged in its duties, but from a place of unshakable inner freedom. The fear of death, the deepest dor oculta abordada, dissolves, replaced by the profound certainty of your soul's immortality. You understand that your life is a sacred play, and you are playing your part with divine enthusiasm, knowing that the ultimate reality is unchanging, eternal, and infinitely benevolent. This new normal is not just a personal triumph. It is a beacon for all who seek true liberation, a testament to the transformative power of a fully surrendered heart. You have felt the profound shift, tasted the nectar of divine surrender, and unveiled the boundless treasure within your own soul. The peace, the clarity, the effortless flow. These are the fruits of your courageous relinquishment. You now walk a path orchestrated by grace, no longer burdened by the ego's relentless grip. The feeling of completion is profound, a sense of having arrived at a sacred destination. But what if I told you that this liberation, this profound personal awakening, was never meant to be solely for you? The journey you just undertook, the internal war against self-will, the alchemy of your heart, this was but the opening chord of an infinite symphony. The Tima principle of pure yogic wisdom doesn't culminate in individual serenity. It seeds the ground for a collective awakening. Your peace, your newfound wisdom, your connection to the divine are not trophies to be cherished in isolation. They are forces, energies, meant to ripple outwards, touching and transforming the vast ocean of consciousness that surrounds you. You have become a beacon, whether you realize it or not, and a beacon cannot hide its light. The universe, the divine intelligence that orchestrated your awakening, has a grander design. You have mastered the art of listening to the cosmic whisper within. But now, the world outside is screaming. It is a world still gripped by the very illusions of control, separation, and fear that you have transcended. The inimigo comum of egoic self-will is not vanquished from the collective psyche. It still holds sway over countless souls, leading them down paths of anxiety, conflict, and despair. Your personal victory, therefore, carries a profound, unspoken responsibility. Yogananda taught that each awakened soul contributes to the spiritual upliftment of the entire planet. Your surrender was not merely an act of personal freedom. It was an energetic offering to the collective consciousness. Every time you choose divine alignment over egoic striving, you send a powerful signal, a vibrational frequency that makes it subtly easier for another soul to awaken. You have become a living testament to the truth that peace is not found by conquering the world, but by surrendering to the divine within it. But this broader mission, this cosmic responsibility, brings with it a new kind of tension. It is no longer the agonizing tension of personal struggle, but the sublime inquietude of the awakened heart, witnessing the slumber of others. You see the patterns you once lived, the suffering you once endured, reflected in the eyes of those still lost in the maze of Maya. And a new, powerful question begins to emerge from the depths of your enlightened being. If personal surrender unlocks boundless grace, and if your liberation is intrinsically linked to the awakening of all, then what is the next, even more profound level of surrender that the universe demands? What terrifying yet ultimately liberating act of collective relinquishment is required to heal a world still deeply entrenched in the illusion of separate wills? And what hidden, ancient power will be unleashed when not just one soul, but humanity itself, finally bows its collective head in a prayer of total surrender to the inexorable, benevolent force of the divine? You, the one who has tasted the profound peace of surrender, who has seen the treasure unveiled within your soul, are no longer a passive seeker. You are an awakened instrument, a conscious channel for the divine. Your journey thus far has been one of intimate transformation, a courageous dismantling of the ego's fortress. But the path stretches onward, inviting you to embody your highest purpose, not just for personal serenity, but for the sacred mission of global awakening. Your newfound clarity and peace are not mere comforts, they are the tools of your divine service. The world is yearning for the truth you now embody, for the light you carry. This channel, A Voz do Despertar Inevitável, exists to provide the maps, the insights, and the practices for those who, like you, are ready to transcend the illusions of Maya and reclaim their spiritual sovereignty. We are a sanctuary for the weary soul, a forge for the awakening spirit. If you resonate with the profound truths unveiled in this message, if your soul recognizes the echoes of its own deepest yearnings, then know this: you are not alone. You are part of a growing community of awakened beings, ready to walk this path of courageous surrender and divine purpose. The next step in your journey is not just intellectual understanding. It is conscious participation, active engagement, and dedicated practice. Do not allow the inertia of the old world to pull you back into slumber. Choose instead to solidify your commitment to the path of the awakened instrument. Subscribe to this channel now. Engage with our content, share your insights, and become a living testament to the transformative power of total surrender. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another transmission designed to illuminate your path. Join us in this sacred mission, for the time of collective awakening is not just inevitable, It is unfolding through souls like yours right now. Your voice, your presence, and your continued surrender are essential to this grand divine orchestration.